Alright. So this market update's a bit more exciting than all the other ones because we've actually broken structure now. Market's looking bearish, so we're not consolidating in one place anymore. So what is the leverage? So what is any live trades? I probably won't be giving as many plays. I might give one or two, but the whole focus of the session is just a market update. I put like a quick reaction thing in the stream news. Everyone said market update, so. But yeah. So I posted a. Would like to hear your opinion on the market right now. Yeah, I went light on a Bitcoin long just in case we get one more leg up. Now, honestly, personally, I wouldn't do that. Like, granted, we are at support, so if you do want to do that, that's from here. But you can see how on a daily, if I go on a fresh chart, you can see how on the daily we're in bearish structure now. So once we've broken past that, you should be looking at shorting highs, not longing lows. Like it's just risky business. Why would you want to do that if you can just trade in the direction of the market? Have the odds in your favor instead of against it. Yeah. Alright, back to the chart. So, I posted a little market update yesterday. I don't know if you lot have read it or not. But essentially, I spoke about how the daily has now flipped bearish, so I'm expecting this to go lower. You can see how on the 8 hour or on the daily, we've been in this channel. We've currently broken out of it. So Monday, I'm expecting one of two things. We can either get a move up, make some sort of lower high and keep dumping the rest of the week. Or what can happen is we just dump straight from here. I'm leaning more towards just dumping straight from here, since you can see we flipped that to SR to resistance already. And we're now consolidating at support while having this lower trend line. Look, we should all go busy so we can chit chat. Matter of fact, I can just do this. There you go. Voila.
Yo, what the fuck, man?
Alright, yeah.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Alright. So you can see how we've broken out of this lower trend line. Flip that, both on the 8 hour and on the daily. So we've just flipped that with this move up today on the Sunday. So we've retested it. So I think we head lower from it. Alright. So yeah, I've already mentioned this. Structure was lost. And essentially what the reason for my short that I took, I don't know if you've really seen out or not. I'm outside. If I get home before stream ends, we'll join. Yeah, alright, sounds good. So yeah, once structure got lost, which you can see it did get lost here, I tried taking a short earlier on from about like AC.3k, I think it was. We got barely stopped out with the news bump from the Clarity Act. But I retook the short with more confluence up here, so you can see we've got this chart pattern called a Quasimodo. I don't know if you lot know it, but it's a reversal pattern that I really like to play. Now you could technically say that this wick here invalidated it, because the way the Quasimodo is, actually, matter of fact, it'll probably be, actually, never mind. It's kind of like...
It's definitely a valid one. Yeah, it's definitely a valid one.
Yeah. I mean, like that wick is above the head, so I guess you could say that that invalidated it, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
it's fine.
Quasimodo. So
That was a
you
very
can
nice
see,
shot as well. Like I
yeah,
saw that the 786 and I looked to short it as well. It was very nice.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can see 786. We've got this order block here, and the Quasimodo gave a nice move down. I'm targeting it. I'm targeting it down to 73.8k since that is a pretty big support zone, support line. So we'll see how that goes. But now, if we zoom out, I could probably go on a high time frame. I mean, a different chart for that. If I go on the weekly, if we close like this, which is what I'm expecting to happen, you can see we've got a bearish engulfing candle here. Now you can see this has happened many other times. There's one here. There's one here. And there's one here. Now, the pattern in itself doesn't necessarily say that we're going to be going down to 60k, but essentially what it does imply is there's going to be a greater move down, right? So it means that bears are taking over. So you can see here, bearish engulfing dropped from this candle close 25%. From here, 10%. From here, 23%, etc., etc. Even from here, solid 7%. So the point that I'm trying to get across is all signs are pretty much pointing towards a move down. I'm sure you agree too, since I remember us talking about it. And I remember you took a short, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I do think that we're gonna go down from here, but
Yeah.
I'm not ruling out a possibility of us retesting like 80.6 or 80.3. But yeah, I'm taking that into account. If we ever do retest that next week, then I'll be looking to add on my short.
Yeah. What'd you say? 80.6?
Yeah, 80.6 to 80.3. Because if you zoom out, like the previous consolidation range before we dropped, all the way up, all the way up. Yeah, so you see that range all the way to the there, left, left, left. That entire huge range.
What, here?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
here.
expecting
Here.
to retest that range if possible. Yep. No, all the way to the left, like that huge
Oh,
range. Yep,
here.
yep, 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 yep,
Wait.
yep, yep. Oh wait, you know,
Alright, never mind, never mind, never mind.
it's fine. This one. I
It's
think
visible for our.
it's in the chat. Yeah, this one.
I mean, if I'm not wrong, you should have fib sliding up with that too. Yeah. So you've got
Yeah,
8.3,
looks like a
8.5.
good area to short.
Let's have a look. Fuck. That's fine. But yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so more or less, we're expecting pretty much the same thing. I'm expecting either a straight up
Yeah,
down
it's
or a
just
little
down
lower
from
high.
here.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you can see that we're consolidating our support here. This minor little low time frame support. The reason I'm not taking profit here is because on the daily, this support virtually doesn't exist, right? It's just
Yeah.
70.5, I mean 79.5 and 77. There is nothing else, right? So if you want, you could take profit here if you're in a short. But personally I'm not. Simply because I expect this support to be broken relatively soon. And yeah, consolidation support in a in a downtrend is bearish. So there's that. And yeah, like I've already mentioned to Cryo, when we're in an uptrend, so when we're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, you shouldn't be looking to short this move because the risk to reward just isn't there, right? It's not worth it in my eyes. So instead, what you should be doing is you should, even if you miss this move, you shouldn't FOMO into longs or like try to force out a short that probably isn't there. The best thing for you to do is look for confluence, right? So may that be fibs, order blocks, demand zones, supply zones, blah 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 blah. Look for confluence, support and resistance lines, etc. And set limits to long it, right? So you can see that the risk to reward for that is much greater than the risk to reward for this, right? Because you can essentially long that till structure is lost. And also there's much less of a risk of getting stopped out, right? Because essentially the whole market is moving in your favor instead of against you, right? So yeah, the point I'm trying to get across is that the long burn should be disabled at this point. You should not be looking to get into longs on Bitcoin and probably on most alts. There's a fair few that are like outperforming right now. Like for example, Sui was like blew up. And it's looking to retest that range. So this could be a good long. You can see that the coin is still bullish. Don't have any off the top of my head, but yeah. So you should be looking to short highs on Bitcoin. All right, now on to ETH. Oh yeah, one more thing I was going to go across. Even though I sometimes set out price targets, like for example, my target for Bitcoin is 40k this cycle, right? So I think we're going to have a slow grind down to about 40k before we get a move up. Now, even though I believe that, I don't religiously stick to price targets. So for example, here at this move down, I didn't buy anything up there, but in terms of my spot bags, we were in this massive demand zone here. What is this? I bought in Bitcoin. I bought some Bitcoin at levels of support. So I bought in at the start of the demand zone, and then I kept buying in as we were going down. So I bought in at 60k, I believe that was my final order, before the push up. I still had more, like some of them didn't get filled, but it was somewhere right at the low. So my average entry was, I can probably check it out, 73.745k, right? That's my average entry. Now you can see from there, we pumped up 30%. I've sold off the rest of my bags at 80.5k, I believe it was. So that's a nice 26% move, right? So even though I have the price target of 40k, which is down at this demand zone here, I'm still buying in level by level, right? Because realistically, price targets are bullshit. I don't know if price is going to go down there. I'm not a genie. No one knows for sure, right? So what you should be doing is you should be scaling in level by level, right? DCA lower and lower and lower. Now you can either do that by setting up a DCA bot or buying weekly, or you could weekly, monthly, daily, doesn't matter. Or you could buy level by level, which is what I prefer to do, right? Doing it level by level has the downside of all of your DCAs might not get filled, but if I use this example, here, right? So you have all of these support lines. Just gonna do them rough because who cares? Right. So you buy here. Let's say all of these are your DCAs, right? Actually, let me draw some more. I'm just gonna put these rough. They might not be valid. Just trying to get a point across. So look, from here you bought, right? DCA 1, DCA 2. Your average entry would be about here, depending on how much you allocated, right? So if you put in 50-50, it would be in the middle. That would have given you a 35% move, right? Now, you could have sold up there. Let's say we did. Going back in. DCA, 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 DCA. Let's say like by the time it hits down there, your average entry will probably be somewhere here. Now you can see that these two lines haven't been filled, right? So you're not fully allocated. But what you can wait for is, you can see we've got a high there, a lower high, lower low, consolidate here, broke out. Now you can see here at this line, it was flipped back to support. So when we flip lines back to support, that's when you can DCA up, right? Especially when we break structure to the upside, right? So when we go from bearish to bullish, that's a good place to do it. So yeah, like I was saying, you might not get fully allocated, so all of your levels might not get hit, but you can DCA up, right? Now, the reason I prefer this method is because it allows you to get essentially perfect entries, right? So, Gaijin, I know, he ran his DCA bot for some reason all the way up here, up in the 100Ks. He ran it for about 2 months, so his average entry was like all the way up here in like 190K. And it's essentially going to be stuck there for God knows how long, right? By the end of the bear, he's probably going to have like his average entry about 83, 88K, right? So the reason I prefer it is because... What was that?
It's called the micro strategy method, bro.
Yeah.
The micro strategy method, bro. But yeah, I don't think it was wise to
Yeah.
start the DCA bot all the way up there, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I told this guy to like save it for lower, but he just ran it anyway. And yeah, so the reason I prefer going level by level is because you have like almost a guarantee that price is probably going to bounce there. Now, it's obviously it's not guaranteed, but you know that price is likely to bounce, right? When you're buying in daily, you don't know that for sure, right? So that's why I prefer it, right? And you can also do it with confirmation, right? When you're buying in daily, weekly, monthly, you don't have the confirmation with it. But when you're buying in level by level, you do, right? But the one downside to that is you do have to unfortunately scale up, since most of your orders are probably not going to get filled. Okay. So what I was going to show is this. Now, even though I think we're going to go down to 40K, we still need to look at Bitcoin level by level, right? So here we have resistance, right? There. We have resistance, right? This got flipped to resistance and is now going lower. We have support. So we might bounce from there. We have another support. We have support. So on and so forth, right? So in order to get down to 65k, we have to go through 75, 73, 70, and then down to 75, right? So you can't look at 65k before we get past 75 point, or like, let me rephrase this. Before we get to 73.75k, we have to get past 75.8k, right? Before we get to 70k, we need to get past 73.7k, right? So on and so forth. So price targets, people you'll see on X, people will be giving out price targets left, right, and center, right? Bitcoin to 1 million, Bitcoin to like 20 cents, right? No one actually knows for certain what's going to happen, right? But what you can say from here is I'm expecting 75.8k to get hit. Why? Because 79.2k was flipped to resistance, and there's no other resistance on a high time frame till, no support on a high time frame till 75.8k, right? That is one thing you can say. Now, you can't say we're going to go down to 66k because we haven't gone through these levels yet, right? Obviously, on a high time frame, you could, because we're bearish on a high time frame. Although you could say we're bullish, though I wouldn't count that as a high. And yeah, that's enough of my rant. Alright, now over to ETH. Now, ETH looks ugly as fuck. Like, this is arguably one of the worst coins in the market at the moment. Now, was it this chart? Yeah. So last market update, I spoke about ETH and how we're stuck in this range, right? So we've now broken out the trend line, broken out the range. I'm a bit pissed because this short that I was trying to take, I posted in my channel. I was trying to enter at the point where most confluence was, right? So at the golden pocket. Now, it didn't reach that. It bounced directly from the supply zone. That should be red. Directly from the supply zone, bounced from the trend line, retested it, and ran, right? That hit full TP. I have to listen on me. What do you mean? If you want to join, then you can. Alright. So yeah, I was pretty pissed about that. But now this range has been broken. So what I'm going to be looking to do is I'm going to be shorting the retest of this if we get it, right? So this is a trade that I will take personally. Enter at the range lows. Stops, I'll probably put them there. And target lower, right? So that is a short that I'll be taking personally. And it also matches up with my... Unfortunately, I can't speak to my website workstation. Yeah, no worries. Glad to see you here, though. So yeah, now this also lines up with my Bitcoin bias, right? So I'm expecting Bitcoin to go down, right? If we get a lower high on Bitcoin, this short will likely fill. If we won't, then we'll probably dump. But we'll see how that goes. But one thing's for certain, and that is if Bitcoin goes down, this will go down with it, right? This will get hit hardest. Especially because if we look at the ETH Bitcoin chart, the Bitcoin pairing on ETH is completely horrendous, right? You can see, I think last time I pulled this up, we just formed this. You can see we retested that, ran lower. Now you can see we've got a downtrend. If I zoom out on the weekly, you can see there is absolutely nothing till about this level here. That's probably a bit too extreme. So if we look at it from the daily, you can see that the first support line is all the way down here, right? So that means ETH is going to be underperforming all the way down there. So until proven otherwise, I'm going to be expecting the Bitcoin pair to keep going down and down and down and down. Maybe get a bounce from the support line. But altogether, I think we're going to go down to this second line before we get a nice little move up on ETH. Or like before ETH starts outperforming. But yeah, that's what I think of ETH. I think this goes lower for now. Definitely to the range lows. At the very least. Alright, now Sol, Vivaldi's favorite coin. In terms of Sol, there's fuck all going on, really. Yes, fuck all going on, to be fair. It's kind of just hanging on for dear life. You can see this is one of the only coins in the market that hasn't flipped bearish yet. So this is, if you're looking for a long, this is probably the only coin that I would take, apart from like the other few. But I'd probably wait for this order block to get hit, right? So you can see we've still got this uptrend. Structure hasn't been lost. It will only be lost once we break below this level here at 83. So let's just get rid of that. This could be a good long to take, right? But in my eyes, Sol won't move without Bitcoin, right? So as you're playing against the overall market, I'd reduce position size on this if you're going to take it. But personally, what I would do is I'd wait for a loss of this trend line and look for a short, right? Because personally, I don't want to be long in this at the moment, right? Now, there's also this resistance line here, or SR. So, once we flip this to resistance, that could be a short take. Stops, probably put them there. And aim for lower. But yeah, Sol is still range bound, so there's virtually nothing going on here. If I just go to these lines for simplicity, I have this also. Let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah, that is a trade that you can take. But you can see we had a nice little head and shoulders go on here. Slash Quasimodo. You can see broke down, if you call this head and shoulders, which is what I would. Head and shoulders, broke down, retested it, and we just dumped. So yeah, if we do go up there, that would be another lower high on the 4 hour, because on the 4 hour we are bearish. So that could be a good place to take a short. I think fibs also line up with that, right? Yeah, they line up with this resistance point. But yeah, now if we zoom out, let's pull up a new chart. We have resistance here. Now, the interesting thing about Sol on the weekly is that we have a nice little bear flag here, right? Now, technical targets of this bear flag. all the way down here, this little accumulation zone down here, down at about $20, right? So, in my eyes, Sol on the weekly doesn't look good, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do. Now, this is the same trend line that I showed before on the other chart. This one here, same exact trend line. Oh. So that is another reason why I would definitely take that short if you get it. Stops above and just target lower. But yeah, until this trend line is lost, you could long it because the structure on the daily isn't bearish just yet. So we are still bullish, especially with it lining up here. We've also got the 786. Oops. So yeah, hope isn't lost for Sol just yet, but in my eyes, I think it will go down soon. Now, will that be this week, next week? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do break down now and flip it. By the way, yeah, I'm expecting Sol to get moved down into the 30s at the least. At the very least. Alright, now, one last coin that I wanted to show is H-bar. Now, I've been tracking H-bar for quite a while. Oh, what do you mean? Oh yeah, Ash is targeting the lows of this little demand zone.
No, all good. Because I'm also aiming around the 50 to $35 region to build up a spot bag for Solana.
To get out of spot bags.
No, to get into spot bags for Solana.
Oh yeah, your heavy bids
I want to
could.
buy Solana at $35.
Yeah. So just take it level by level, right? So you can see
Yeah,
here
definitely.
we've got support. Here we've got another support. Just take it level by level, man. Yeah. Now, your heavy bids could be in this area here, if that's what you're expecting, but then you could also have, like, save some capital in case we do, for some reason, reach down here, right? If not, then worst case scenario, you just scale up. But if you do happen to get that move down into this zone, you'll be nice and prepared, right? Especially with the technical targets of that bear flag being all the way down there. But yeah, now H-bar, I've been monitoring this. I think I posted this chart at some point in my channel. But yeah, I've been monitoring this from about March. Been waiting for a breakout. And we've just got that now. Retested it today, so I bought in. I did go in a bit at resistance, so you can see we are getting a move down. But altogether, I think this does go up. I'm hoping our DCS get filled. If not, oh well. But there's, yeah, in my eyes, I think this does go up soon. Now, another thing you can notice is we do have another Quasimodo pattern here. We've got the shoulder, head, broke above, came back below and bounced. So that is a reversal pattern, so that could indicate a move up. You've got this rough trend line here. So at this point, if we do, this is what I have on H-bar. 0.085. All the way down here. Yeah, honestly, at that point, I'd probably be looking to cut because
No. Mine is 885. Mine is 885. Yeah, not 85. It's 885.
oh, at 85, yeah,
But it's around your DCA one. Yeah, it's around your
yeah,
DCA one.
yeah,
I do like it quite a lot, actually.
yeah. I'm taking this on spot, so I'm like in terms of spot, I usually only rely on like pounds and support resistance lines, since my trading strategy like revolves entirely around support and resistance lines. So that's like the main thing. Everything else is like an alternative. But yeah, like for example, Gaijin, he managed to 4x his spot account in 2 months using only support and resistance lines. And that guy, mind you, knows nothing about market structure. I spoke to him yesterday about it and I was actually surprised. He knows not a single thing about market structure.
Dude, like, how long do you know him for, actually? Because, like, back in the days, he got fucking banned from, like, Unity because he was like gambling on leverage, like 100x full port and shit. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, he told me about that. I didn't know him back then. I've only known him for about just over half a year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's a change man. He's a change
Yeah.
man.
But he's still a DGen though. He's still a DGen. Alright. But yeah, you can see we've got the Quasimodo here. So I'm expecting a run higher. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this runs up. So we'll see how that goes. Now, technical targets of this falling wedge is at around 0.11 cents. Now, there is a relatively small resistance line there. But altogether, I'm going off the high time frame resistances. So that's why I posted on my channel that I might cut this early. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Alright. Yeah, that's enough of my rant for now. Have you lot got any coins you want me to chop? If not, then we'll just end it here. Yeah. Thoughts on overbought stuff like Don and Zick. Yeah, alright. I'll check that out in a bit. So, we're in an uptrend. That's not valid. Alright. Well, first thing you can see, market structure is bullish. So, what you should be doing is longing high lows. You can see we've just bounced from this little order block / demand zone. You go on a lower time frame. Yeah. If you call this a demand zone, which on a lower time frame is, on a high time frame is, although, yeah, no, that could be a demand zone. Yeah. So if you do call this a demand zone, 50% of it has just been filled, so that means this is now invalid. But since structure on the daily is bullish, that is a long that you can take. Aim up to that resistance. We are at resistance now. We do have a short up here. I'd probably leave stops decently wide for this, since are we bearish on the weekly? On a high time frame, structure is still bearish, so you could make an argument that this will make a lower low. So yeah, you could leave stops wider for this, DCA at the resistance, that will leave your average entry about there, and aim for the lows, right? But in terms of where we are now, I'd probably be looking for longs over shorts. On a lower time frame, we do have a head and shoulders. If this gets flipped, that's invalidated, so I'll probably put it down there. There you go. If that gets flipped, that would be invalidated, but you can see if I get rid of that. You could still short it here. But like I said, we are in this higher time frame demand zone here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this gets flipped. And mind you, we still are bullish on the daily, though this uptrend has been lost. So yeah, there's honestly two things you can do here. You can either, on a higher time frame, you could take both a long and a short. So long at coin, at market price, stops below here, aim higher, target higher. And you could short here, right? Either of these could play out. Shit, what's your thoughts on XMR? It's actually one of the few coins I want to build spot and actually had a long-term position. Is XMR a new coin, or is that an older one?
Oh, XMR is one of the privacy coins. It's been here for quite some time, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think
Monero,
I knew.
sorry.
Actually, first let me just chart out Ton and Zik. Shit. Now, honestly, just because it's overbought doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be a move down, right? All the way down to these lows. What could happen is you can see that we are at a pretty key support here. You can see if this does get respected, this could be a good place to take it. I'd probably take it in spot, just because if you take it on leverage, your stops would either have to be all the way down here or down here. So that leaves very wide stops. So I don't think this would be worth taking on leverage. What I would do is I would take it on spot, wait for a break below, flip, and that's where I would cut. But other than that, like I said, bullish. So in my eyes, until proven otherwise. So like for example, what can happen is we can make a high, then another low. At that point, we've flipped bearish. So that's where I'd be looking for shorts. But in terms of taking shorts on this, I wouldn't take them yet, since there's virtually no confirmation for that. Now, maybe on a higher time frame, you could make an argument that, oh yeah, order block, blah. But even on the weekly, you can see that it is bullish. Now, if you do want to scalp coins like this, the 4 hour likely isn't enough because there's not enough price action, so you want to go on an even lower time frame, like the 1 hour. Now, you can see we've lost this trend line, flipped it. So you could play off that, go higher, order block, bang. So this could be a good short stake. I'll probably put stops down there. Aim for higher. Have a little supply zone there. You can take a short. Aim lower. Now, just because I'm putting the targos down here doesn't mean that you won't take TP. That's just probably where, if it gets down there, that's where I would close the rest of the position. But yeah, you can see we do have a support here on a lower time frame. Let me just get rid of that for the sake of this chart. You can see lower time frame we are bullish. Now flip the structure. So if we do flip this to support, that's a good long to take. But yeah, so essentially if you're trying to scalp these coins, what you want to do is you want to go on a really low time frame, like the 1 hour or even 15 minutes. Like if, let's say we're back here. You want to go on like the 15-minute chart, right? Now, these charts are still valid, but they're less reliable, right? So the higher the time frame, the more reliable everything is. So, rising wedge, yada yada. You can see that, like, technical analysis still works, like TA still works. It's just it won't be as reliable as like the daily or weekly charts. But yeah, just wanted to get that point across. And then also you could play off the structure, right? So on the daily, structure's still bullish, right? But you would have missed this whole move. So from the highs all the way down here, it's minus 35%, right? So if you're playing off structure alone, since a good way to play it, like for example on Bitcoin, a good way to play long term is just look at structure. When structure gets lost, that would be your sign to cut your bags, right? You can't really do it here because structure is lost all the way down there, right? So all the way out this low. And from this high to that low is minus 55%. So what you want to do is you want to go on a low time frame. So for example, if you want to short this move up, go on the 15-minute, right? You can see high, low, just barely broke that high, or you could call it a double top. That's a nice little double top that you could have taken, right? Short there, target low. So yeah, just the point I'm trying to make is when you have gigantic moves like this and you do want to trade it, you have to go on a much lower time frame. Now Zek. I'm just gonna blitz through Zek since it's probably gonna be this exact same thing. Zcash. Now this coin had a really nice falling wedge. And you can see targets got hit to a T. So personally, I wouldn't be getting back into spot on this, since I wouldn't be surprised since you saw technical targets got hit to a T. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a move back down from now. Resistance. Support. SO. So on and so forth. Now, same thing applies here, right? You have to go on a lower time frame. Here, on a 4 hour, this is still bearish. I mean, yeah, bearish. So on the 4 hour, this is bearish, unlike ton. So what you can do is you can wait for a move up to this order block. And short that. If we go up from here, structure would still be bearish, so that would be a nice little short. Though this downtrend would be broken out. Now, if we break below this low, flip it, you can see here we didn't actually get a proper flip, hence why we went up. When we flip it, you can enter a short, stops above the high, target lower. Wherever it may be, you can target up here, you can target that. Just exit the trade wherever you're comfortable, wherever you think it will reverse. So yeah, on the 4 hour, I'd be primarily taking shorts. The only long I would see is probably on an even lower time frame. You can see high, high, low, high, high. So this is now bullish on the 2 hour. I don't think people using the free version have the 2 hour chart, right? You have to pay to get the 2 hour. I know you do get it. Oh no, it's the 8 hour you don't get. Oh well. So yeah, you could long here. Stops below. Target up. Probably target all the way up there, and that's where I would cut it if we get there. So on the... What you do? Yeah. Yeah, you don't have the 8 hour, 12 hour, 3 day, 5 day. And yeah. Yeah, but add custom interval, you have to pay for that, I believe. Yeah. So, on a 2 hour, this would be your long. I wouldn't short it on the 2 hour just yet until we get a move up to around 540. But if we do get a move down, break below this low here, flip that to resistance, we'll probably go lower. So once again, that would be your short stake. Actually, yeah, I'd probably move that resistance up there. Yeah, that'd probably be cleaner. And yeah, that's what I think of Zcash. Now, just to make the point, if you go on the 15-minute again or even lower, oops, you can see up here you have much more price action, right? So in one of my market updates, I spoke about if you want to do some scalp trading. Yo, you can go down to the minute on the free. I don't believe you can use these ticks though, on the second ones. Yeah, I think you get a minute for free though. Alright, so you can see we have this uptrend. Now, I spoke about this in one of my market updates, I believe. This is a type of scalp trading strategy you can take just using these trend lines alone, right? So you can just, like, this trend line alone would have given you a 7-hour trade, right? Or even if you took it strictly to what I mentioned, 20-hour. So it's a really nice, easy scalp trading strategy. Yeah, on here, even though on the 4-hour, everything's still bullish up there, on the 15-minute, although yeah, let's just do this. So you can see bullish. Oh, come on. Right. So here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and we've now broken this low. So what did we see from here? Higher low, no, lower high, and we just dumped. We did get a move up here, but then you can see from this confirmation, we got a massive move down. So when you have coins that have made massive moves like this, you could go on a lower time frame like the 15-minute or the 1 hour to look for exits, right? Because on the higher time frame, especially if you're looking for trades, on the higher time frame, you don't have the price action to do anything like that, right? All right. Well, that's the Zcash. XMR. Fuck is this? Right. Resistance here. Support here. Now on the daily, this is flipped bearish. So you can see we've made like a double top. And then also we've got a higher high, higher low. This just barely made a higher high. And we've now broken below. Now, if you're taking this as a double top, you could take a short there, stops above that high, target lower. I'd DCA at this resistance line though, or even at this order block. Or if you get fibs, yeah, that lines up with that order block. So I'd probably DCA at the golden pocket. Oh man, if we get a $200 Monero, I'd be so happy. Yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised. Since we're bearish now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get moved down from here. Now, you mentioned that you want to hold this coin on the long term. You can do that, but the thing that I will mention is, in terms of getting getting your long-term investments in alts, you really want to be looking at the new coins that come out, right? So, for example, Hype came out last cycle. Is this the whole chart?
Well, the reason why I want to stack up on XMR actually is because it is a privacy coin, and honestly, um, like all other alts, like the crypto market itself is already a scam. Like I think we can already establish that crypto
Yeah.
market is essentially a scam. But when it comes to actual value, I only see privacy coins actually being the better play, because right now what I usually do is that I will hit a certain profit target and I'll just rotate the profits into stocks because stocks have value. But unlike
Yeah.
crypto has no value. But since Monero is a privacy coin, and well, if things get to a very very bad state, um, Monero will still have value because like it's needed in the world, I guess. And so this is one of the coins that I want to build a spot back in. And something very interesting about Monero actually is that it doesn't really follow Bitcoin's movement. I'm not sure if you guys have been um, observing this, but um, it hasn't really been moving alongside Bitcoin. As you can see, like from the pairing chart, it has its own kind of movement, which is very interesting. Yeah. So this is one of the coins, which is the only coin, in fact, that I will be watching for a spot back. Other than that, I wouldn't be interested in anything else.
Yeah. I think if we do have a look, like for example, this low, August 2025, let's have a look. August, yeah. Yeah, that was also low. So in terms of following Bitcoin's moves, it pumps when Bitcoin pumps, but it dumps when Bitcoin dumps. But I see what you're trying to say though, because it does essentially like follow the same moves that Bitcoin has. It just does it by like its own values, if you know what I mean, right? So it's like it moves however it wants, but it still moves in the same direction. So that is shown on the Bitcoin pair, right? When the Bitcoin pairs like this, it's completely outperforming it. That's why you're seeing like the massive like wicks and everything, and the massive pumps up. But you can still like you can predict these types of moves, right? So for example, here this got flipped to support and it just ran higher, right?
Yep.
So I see where you're trying to get at, right? It's like no alt looks like this,
Yeah, but
right?
like that pump was honestly an anomaly.
Yeah,
Yeah. And because of like they stole Litecoin and they converted it all into Monero. That's why.
yeah,
But
fair
yeah.
enough. Yeah, to be fair, I don't keep up with this coin. It's like I think I've seen it before. I just
Yeah.
haven't traded it
Okay.
ever. So yeah,
Yeah, but one of the reasons why I asked you to chart this coin is because, like, personally, I have trouble charting it because if you look at structure, the structure looks so weird on the higher time frame.
yeah,
Like,
on the
this
high
just
time
looks like
frame.
a head and shoulder on the weekly, and I'm like, I mean,
Yeah,
what
what
the
you can
heck
do
is
is you
this?
can just go down to the line chart, right? So you can see high, low, high, low, high, and then just broke down, right? So this is now bearish on the weekly,
Hmm.
right? Now you could argue that this is now in bullish structure again, but I wouldn't call this a high because like, if you look at this candle,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
wouldn't either.
yeah,
I would
S-
definitely like lower.
yeah. So I'd call this yeah, I'd do that too, is it Zcash and XMR on 210 blah, 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 blah. XMR is a feature that hides your public key on tokens on transactions. What could be in future and be vulnerable to quantum hacks? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, but one thing that you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to be holding memes, right? That's like we can all definitely agree on that. Like memes are not gonna pump. Sure, they might like have their little run from here till about like 10 cents, but it's not gonna go all the way back up to like 2 cents ever again. That's just not gonna happen. But when you've got like hype, when you've got Ondo, like real world assets, that's what you want to be looking at, like privacy. I saw Solana now allows private transactions. It looks like it's trying to answer Monero. So I bought Trump coin for. You know, I actually made a 2x on Trump. So I'll take that. I'll take that. You know, I bought in like I bought a bit. I was expecting it to go up, and then I fell asleep, woke up, and I was like 2x. So I made a solid like $500 on it. So I'll take it. Yeah, I didn't throw in that much because you know it's a fucking shitcoin. So yeah. Why am I on Bitcoin? What was I trying? XML. But yeah, in terms of like what I think is gonna pump next cycle is I think alts that come out now or like that are gonna come out this cycle are gonna run, right? So apart from like ETH and Sol, of course, all of these coins here, you won't be seeing me trading them as much next cycle, right? I'll be trading the new coins that come out because like the spotlight is going to be on them, right? They're the ones that are going to be giving like 10, 20, 30, 40 X's, right? These coins won't be doing that anymore. So in terms of spot bags, I won't be looking to enter these ones long term. And especially not the memes. So yeah. Higher time frame, you wanted it, try it out. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets moved down. But then, like I said, I'd watch out for this here. This is like a nice little double bomb. So I would watch out for that. But yeah, this looks like. I mean, to be fair, it's still in an uptrend, right? So I'd probably wait for confirmation, wait for that to get flipped, or even the trend line. That's where I would like short it. What's this? What is that? Oh yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think AI is a shit narrative, so. But yeah, the rest of it looks alright. But yeah, still in an uptrend. You could argue that this is now bullish. Actually, yeah, I'd probably call this bullish. Like on the weekly now. If we do get either another lower high, I mean, no, higher low. Bro, my brain's actually turning off. I've been on stream for too long. If we get a high low and a lower high than a lower low, Jesus Christ, bro. Yeah. So if we get higher low, lower high, lower low. Once we break that, I'd be looking to enter shorts. But in terms of now, this wouldn't be a. Especially if we break this resistance, I think they'll be primed to go higher. That's essentially the point that I'm trying to get across, right? It's bullish on the weekly for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if this goes lower. That's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, we'll see. It does look like a decent coin, though. Alright. What time is it? 5:15, yeah. Nice little 1 hour stream. Alright, I'll call it a day here then.
Yeah, thanks for the stream, man. It was fucking great.
Yeah, nice having you here. Alright, let me just end the recording.